What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for First Wives Club. Excuse me, season 2, episode 9. So, we started this episode off. The ladies had to run back. Remember, we ended last episode where they did the Great Caper, at David's apartment, and then they ended up leaving the whole mess, and then mess around, and oh shoot, the other one, child, not Ari, not Hazel, Bree left her phone, so they had to go back. They had to get David's assistant to let them into the apartment so that they could get in while he was outside waiting for the police. And there was this whole sequence of them trying to look for the phone and finally finding the phone. And then he had set the alarm remotely so that he, just in case they didn't double back into his apartment. He set the alarm, which means they only had 30 seconds to get out. But of course, they made it in the nick of time, just before the alarm activated, and they were able to jump into her minivan and roll away. Oh, these ladies are a mess. So we see David talking to Ari, and she tells him, listen, I just need a little bit more time. There must have been something going on for the character in real life that she could not film. Because they made sure to keep her involved in the story throughout the season, but she never made it back to New York this whole season, because we're on episode 9, and it's only 10 episodes. So it's just really interesting to me that, I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, so, but she's telling him that, she's feeling better, but she just needs a little more time to just finish working out her problems and her feelings about what had happened with them. Gary wrote the article, and Gary did a really good job, even though him and David had the bad time down to the men's retreat, and David left him stranded. He wrote a really good article, and the editor of Ebony is actually impressed, or the Essence, one of them is actually impressed and wants to maybe talk to him about some more writing opportunities. We also found out that they're going to be doing a daddy-daughter, photo shoot with him and the daughter. Now, remember, the daughter last season was in this polyamorous relationship where she had 2 boyfriends. Well, now she's done with the 2 boyfriends, but while they were having their photo shoot, the editor talks to them, and she shares with them how she does not want to follow in her parents' footsteps, how she just wants to make her own path, and how, she doesn't want traditional marriage. Hell, she don't even know she want to be with a man, and how everything is just all up in the air. And of course, David is like, what, girl, what? Like now is when you decide to share this with the world? Like, woo, you doing this right now, right here, like in front of all these people? And they end up having a conversation, and he was like, why do you wait to have this conversation, with these outside people? Why wouldn't you talk to me about it? And she was like, because you don't talk. Like, we don't talk. We don't spend time together like that. We don't talk like that. I'm not ashamed of it. So for me to say it in front of other people is not a big deal, because I'm not ashamed of how I feel. I'm not ashamed of the way I'm living. And so, you saw them sort of had that moment. Then we see Bree getting ready for her interview. Gary is sort of, quizzing her, and, they're getting everything together and getting ready to do it. We see her going for her interview, and she actually knocks it out the box. Like, Dr. Ryden, whatever. He's impressed. He told her, listen, that's the best we've seen all day, and they go in for this hug, and of course the hug is long, and they taking deep breaths, and, they're insinuating that the feeling is mutual, that she's got this crush on him and he sort of has a crush on her. But we have seen nothing from him that really gives us any definitive feeling or belief that he returns her feelings. I mean, again, he makes these comments that they can kind of use as, innuendo, but we ain't really seen too much of that. You know what I'm saying? So Hazel is down at the record label trying to figure out how she can make this whole situation work with her and Rachel. She said, it is my, this is actually my record label, and I can do what I want. And of course, her assistant Curtis, the whole time she's talking, he's sitting there applying for jobs, okay? Because he just know that this about to be a wrap. This whole situation about to be a wrap. And she says, this, I started this record label. It wasn't about the money. It was about empowering women. It was about women coming together and collaborating. And she said, oh my goodness, that's it. That's the idea. And we see her get on the phone with Diddy, a.k.a. Puffy, a.k.a. Love, to do something. So we'll see what a great idea, what bright idea she comes up with, right? So David actually does call Gary, and they sit down to talk. And David apologizes to Gary, and Gary apologizes to David, and he said, "Listen, this article is great. Like, you wrote a really great piece." He said, and they really could be, they're interested in talking to you. There really could be some other opportunities for you. And of course, Gary is like, "Oh my goodness, I really, really do appreciate it. Like, I do appreciate it." So then they get to talking about their wives. And Gary admits, to David that he did have an affair last year. And David was like, "Yeah, my wife, she's sort of a talker. I kind of already knew." And, Gary is talking to, so then they get to talking about that and, about being cherishing your wives and not making those mistakes. And, then, David sort of opens up about what's going on with that, Ari sort of suspects that, he's having an affair. And Gary was like, "Yeah, my wife, she's sort of a talker too. Yep, I kind of knew that too." So they decided they just gonna bond on it. You know what I mean? They're gonna bond on this man thing. Since their wives are such good friends, telling all their business, they might as well talk to each other and see if they can help each other and just sort of, be a support, a support for each other moving forward. So that was cute. That was cute. So then, we see Versace is helping out the lawyer with her case. She got some records on the client to try to chronicle his affair and see when the affair started to try to get some ammunition in her case. So that's all we saw in this episode. So I guess we're going to get the conclusion of that next episode. So then we see Hazel and Nigel. And Nigel comes back home. And Hazel is like, "Okay, just apologize and let's move on." And he was like, "Apologize for what?" She was like, "Because, apologize for, not returning my phone calls, apologize for ghosting me." And he said, "Listen, she was like, 'Where you been staying?" He was like, "I was staying with my aunt, in Brooklyn, wherever." And he tells her, he said, "Listen, our wedding is supposed to be about us. And the fact that not only do you not care that our wedding has nothing, that it has no reflection of me, that I don't feel included, the fact that you talk to me the way you talk to me in front of your friends, you totally disregarded me, you totally disrespected me, and you don't seem to think you did anything wrong. You don't seem to have a problem with it. You don't seem to feel like there was an issue with how you spoke to me. That's a problem for me. I am not arm candy. I am not here to be, something that looks good to other people. This is supposed to be a relationship, and this is supposed to be about love and a commitment. And you're showing me that there's none of that you don't love me, that this isn't a commitment for me." I mean, because she was even laughing at him when he was trying to explain how he was feeling, like, basically telling him, "Stop being so dramatic about the situation," right? So he ends up letting her know, "Listen, this is it. I'm done. I'm out of here." And he leaves his keys and walks out of the apartment. And of course she's like, Nigel. But baby, Nigel is gone. Nigel has left the building. Nigel is not thinking about you. So we see Bree and we see Bree and Hazel out shopping. Bree is telling Hazel all about the situation with the doctor and how, she really likes him and she feels like he kind of likes her. And if they get this job, if she gets this job, how bad it's going to be because they're going to be basically working together and how that's going to be a problem. And Hazel, of course, is making it all about her and talking about her and Nigel's situation and doesn't understand why he would have a problem and the fact that he's just clowning. He'll be back, And Bree is trying to let her know, "Girl, you may need to call him and you may need to apologize because I don't think he's playing with you. Like, I don't think it's a joke." And, Hazel just can't wrap her brain around the fact that this could really be real. Like, this man could really be kicking her to the curb, right? So then Bree talks about the fact that her and the doctor are about to head off to this whole conference situation where they're going to be alone in Jamaica. I don't know if it's Jamaica, but somewhere warm. And she is absolutely, worried to death about being alone in a hotel with this man for a couple of days. Like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So Hazel says, "You know what? That sounds like a great place for us to go and recharge. Me and Nigel are going to come with y'all." And Bree was like, "Did you hear anything I said? Like, this is a work trip. Like, you think this is a retreat or something?" But then we see Bree sitting outside at work having a cup of coffee, and Doctor rolls up to her and tells her, "Listen, unofficially, I mean, off the record, they're gonna offer you the job." So of course she's like, oh my goodness, this is so great. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. But then he starts talking about how much time they're gonna be spending together and how closely they're gonna be working together and all the committees and stuff they're gonna be on together. And she says, oh my goodness, I can't accept this job. And that's kind of where that leads. And he's looking at her like, girl, what? And that's sort of where they leave that hanging. So then Hazel must have finally got it through her head what Bree was telling her. So she heads over to Nigel's cousin's apartment to go check on him. And of course, he's not there. And come to find out, baby Nigel is on his way back to Jamaica. He won't play with you, Hazel. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.